Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel. My name is Novella. Today is Sunday. That means, as always, coffee clutch. Coffee clutch is just a Belgian word that means coffee. So I invite you over for coffee, and clutch means chit chat. So I always like to talk about books. Now, I had a very quiet weekend because I don't have my phone. It's still at my dad's home. I'm going to get it tomorrow, so that will give me the opportunity to read another book. And I went to see him Friday, and we had a really good time, and I had a really good read. And on that train ride to my dad's, I read The Art of Losing by Alice Zeniter. Alice Zeniter is, I think she's French. L'art de perdre. Okay, that's a French book. Now, The Art of Losing is a really epic book. It is set in Algeria, mostly, and it tells actually the story of the last 100 years of Algeria. A lot of things happened because, well, they were a colony of France. And they had to fight in the First World War, Second World War, but they weren't accepted by the French soldiers because, they looked down on them, they frowned on them. And there was a very, very important revolt that is told here that is brilliant. I don't know if I can, I can tell it, because it's history. So at a certain point in the Second World War, the Algerian fighters were obliged to eat pork. Of course, they are Muslims, so they are not allowed to eat pork. But they also got a ration of wine every day, but they didn't drink it, so the other soldiers didn't mind that, and they drank all their wine every day. So at a certain point, so they were really forced to eat pork. So they decided, well, if we have to eat pork, we will drink our wine too. And that had a really good effect because, they didn't want them to give their ration of wine, although they had the right for that wine. So it became a whole thing, and it was one of the first times that they really fought for their own self-worth and their own dignity and their own country and their identity. And a couple of years later, they then, in the 50s, 60s, they fought for their independence. And this book tells the story of Algeria through 3 different generations of one family. So first the grandfather, the father, and then the daughter. It is an absolutely brilliant book. It is marvelous if you like epic, really good storytelling where you learn a ton and you are gripped by the story. It reminds me a bit of the Eight Life of Nino Haratischvili, or there are other big epic novels, although with Nino Haratischvili you had a little bit of magic, and that's not the case in this book. But if you like those really big stories where they tell a whole lot about the country and how the people dealt with those difficulties, then this is the book for you. The Art of Losing by Alice Zeniter. And it is translated by, let me see, Frank Wynne. So I really recommend, if you like a really good historical fiction novel that is based on real history. So this came out in 21. I read it on my train journey. Then I read a modern classic, The Midwich, Cuckoos by John Wyndham. John Wyndham, of course, is one of the great sci-fi writers where there's not too much technical stuff. So it's early sci-fi, and I really like that. This is a story about a village, Wyndham, and at a certain point, everybody is unconscious for a whole day, and then they wake up and they don't have any side effects, but after a while they realize that a woman that is fertile is pregnant, although they are single or married or whatever, or they are sure that their husband is not the father, or their boyfriend is not the father, or they are single. Everybody is pregnant. And that's how the story starts. And then we follow the people, the women mostly, and how they deal with that pregnancy, because are they molested, or are they, is it some foreign entity that impregnated them? They don't know. And it has a huge effect on them, on their lives. And then the children come, and then, there are the scientists who want to discover everything, and for them it's a wonderful opportunity, but then they forget the psychological effects on that. So it's a really, really interesting book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The Art of Losing, I gave 5 stars because it's really epic. But this one, 4 stars, really good. And then I also read... This is, what is it, from which country? Brazil. Anna Paula, Maia of Cattle and Men. And this is from the same publisher, Charcoal Press, as The Adventures of China Aaron. Yeah. And I really like that book, and I also really enjoyed this one. So this is a story of a man who works at a slaughterhouse, in a slaughterhouse, and he is responsible of sedating, in a way, the cattle before they get terminated. And but he takes really great pride in his job. He really makes sure that the cattle don't suffer, and they don't have any pain before they expire. And but then he is so good at his job that his boss wants him to do something else, and he is sent away from his job, and he really, really doesn't like that. And because he is always thinking of the cattle, and now somebody else has to do it, and he knows that those animals will suffer. So yeah, he does some really shocking things in a way, but for him, animal life and human life, there's no difference. He takes great pride in his craft, and it's a really interesting book. Then, as always, each month I buddy read Ollie from Criminology. We are reading the entire work of Patricia Highsmith, and we are reading it in order of appearance, so that's really, really interesting. This is book, I think it is book 14. Yeah, it's 14, and it is A Dog's Ransom. What a good book. This is really good. I really enjoyed this one. So this is a story of a man. He lives with his wife in New York, and he is a successful editor or publisher, and he receives odd notes in his letterbox. And if you read it, this is written when? So this is written in 1972, and I will quickly read a letter that is sent to the man, and you will quickly notice that nothing has changed since 50 years ago. Dear Sir or Gentlemen, I suppose you are pretty pleased with yourself. People like you disgust me, and not only me, but a hell of a lot of other people in this world. You are smug. You are self-sufficient, you think. Superior to everybody else, you think. A fancy apartment and a snob dog. You are a disgusting little machine. Nothing else. Your days are numbered. What right have you got to be superior? Annan, as in, see you, Annan. Ha! You can read that almost on every Facebook post or whatever. There's always someone who has to say that somebody feels superior. So it starts with these kind of poison letters, and then at a certain point he receives a letter. He can't find his dog, and the dog has been abducted. And then there's a policeman that comes into play who has to investigate, and yeah, it doesn't work out really well, and it all gets out of hand, especially for the policeman. And yeah, it's a brilliant study once again, of characters and how people deal with disappointment and with the feeling of failure, and how they often mirror themselves with people they don't even know, and they have opinions about people they don't even know, and just by looking at them and just by seeing them walking in the park with a poodle. Yeah, it's a poodle. So yeah, this is a fun read, but also a very dark one. So she really, at the beginning, at the first half, you can feel that she has big fun writing this, but it becomes, at the second part, really dark, but really good. I highly enjoyed this one. Oh my God, this was good. And then I read Tremor by Teju. This is my Dutch version. It's very difficult to explain this one, because actually it is novelized essays about art and about photography. What I really like about this book is that you can feel that the author is also a photographer, and he looks at the world with different points of view, and you can almost feel him taking his tripod and putting it down and focusing and look at the landscape, what he sees. Now, this is about art and modern, contemporary art, and you really have to know a lot about art to enjoy this book, because it can make you feel uncomfortable, because there are a lot of names in here that you probably don't know. I was lucky because he was talking about very famous Flemish authors and painters, so for me it was easy. If you say Tuymans, you probably don't know who I'm talking about, but we do, because he's very well known here. He talks about the court case that he has when he plagiarized, in a way, a picture of a journalist. I will try to look it up. If I can find it, I will put it in here. So he painted that picture, but really to the millimeter. And there is a discussion in this book if it's plagiarism or not. To me, it is, because it is the framing that makes the image. It's the framing of the photojournalist who took this picture that is exceptional and brilliant. And he just painted it, but really copied it. It was almost a paint by numbers. It isn't, but you get my point. So he lost that. Although he only had to admit that he used the camera obscure technique to paint this painting. But he didn't want to. Well, he lost men. And then we have another book. I read quite a few things. This is by Emmi Itäranta. She is Finnish/American. This is the Memory of Water. This is really good. This is also science fiction, dystopian. This is set in the Scandinavian Republic. So we are like maybe 150 years ahead of now, and the world is ruled, or just like Russia and Europe is ruled by China. So yeah, everything is very Chinese, and there's a lot of drought, and you can feel that Norway, I believe it is, or well, it's a Scandinavian country, is very dry, very warm, which isn't really the case now. So that's quite alarming. And this is a story of a girl who is a tea master, and she serves tea, but the water is rationed. And then her father goes away, and she has to take over the tea business. And but she is hiding, or the family is hiding a secret well, and that is, of course, forbidden. So a lot of things happen. I enjoyed it. It isn't the greatest work, but still a 4-star read. I thought it was a good read. It was very entertaining, very interesting, very good image building. You can really feel how it could be 150 years from now if we are still on this earth. And it's a good read. It's interesting, and especially also an environmental warning. Good read. Now, what else do I have to talk about? Oh yeah, I got one non-fiction, and this is also a Dutch version. This is The Emperors of Rome, so by Mary Beard, the woman that thinks every day about the Roman Empire. And a very fun read if you are interested in that kind of stuff, and how they lived, how the emperors lived, how they came to power, how their servants lived, the slaves, the trade and everything. Very, very, very interesting. I highly enjoyed it. It was a good read. Mary Beard is always interesting, and I love her documentaries. And then I'm currently reading for Classics and Company Middlemarch. Middlemarch by George Elliot. I'm about 40% in, and I'm really enjoying it. For me, this is a first read, and yeah, it's good. I was surprised that she has a lot of humor in her book, and the way she describes people are often very tongue-in-cheek, and that is so much fun. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend it. And yeah, I need a coffee now. So, oh yeah, I read another book. Sorry, I read also Blue Monday by Nikki French. This was my first Nikki French, and I didn't like it. For me, I know this book is hugely popular. It's the first of the, what was the name? I forgot. It's a series of 8 books. Monday, Tuesday, and where the main character is a psychoanalyst, and yeah, she discovers that, well, she thinks that her patient, Helen, I believe, is a serial killer, or maybe or he abducts children. And but I found the premise very predictable. I was not surprised by any of the twists. I could see it coming from miles away. So yeah, for me it was not great. So this will be my only Nicky French, I think. It's just not for me. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've read. Are there any of the books that you want to read, or have you read them, or books that you want to recommend me? I would always love a good. I always love a good recommendation. I think I will read something about writing today. I feel like a non-fiction book. It is time to read something like that. So yeah, I think I will do that. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. Tomorrow I'm going to my dad's. My dad is, because, yeah, I left my phone at my dad's place Friday, and I didn't want to go by car, so I have free tickets tomorrow, so I can take them. So I'm going back on a train ride, so I don't know what I will be reading, but it will be something good, I think. And then I will start the week. So yeah. Besides that, work hard, but not too hard. You don't have to live to work, work to live, okay? Take good care of your health, stay safe, and hope to see you next. Bye-bye.